Hey everybody, welcome to BrickVault. Today is another LEGO Top 10 MOCs of the Week episode. I'm going to show you guys my 10 favorite builds in LEGO throughout this last week, and they're not particularly set out in any order from what I like the most to least necessarily, just 10 builds I generally like. Links to everybody I talk about and more are in the description below as always, and for the custom build that has gone up in our web store this week, the instructions for the Vwings Starfighter have arrived. Thomas Jenkins, the designer, did an excellent job knocking out this extremely detailed and somewhat elegant looking starfighter. Comes with its own stand, and it is of course built to minifig scale to match up with the rest of the LEGO Star Wars ships that we have designs for. Instructions can be found at www.brickvault.toys. You can click the link in the description below if you want to learn more. It's a great way to help support the channel if you want to get those instructions. And alright, let's jump into the very first build of the week. Starting off with somebody we've never featured before from ekownimako, we have the extremely large and incredibly detailed Flower Girl. This LEGO artist builds what looks like primarily in monochrome or just black, and it also feels like one of the signature styles of this guy is that he builds extremely large creations as well. I'm really taken aback by the smoothness and sort of glassy feel that you get for a lot of these large creations, and from now on I'm really gonna have to start looking through Instagram a bit more for LEGO artists instead of focusing so much on Flickr, because I feel bad that I'm only just discovering this guy now. I haven't been able to monitor some of these builds that he's been putting out from the past. Flower Girl has gone through 5 years of evolution. This is just the latest iteration, and the black monochrome use of bricks I think looks amazing. It's also an excellently lit project or series of projects, and I highly recommend you check this guy out in the description below. Number 9, moving down, certainly plays into some of my more nostalgic ideas. We've got Steel Beast by EliteTC. This is the old World War I tank seen in Indiana Jones, and personally I just think it's an amazing looking build. Tanks are by no means uncommon in the LEGO building world, but I think the series of proportions looks just about perfect for this one here. You also have Indiana Jones and his dad next to the tank for scale. So it looks just about right to minifig scale, and perhaps some of those slope pieces at the very top don't come in tan, but for the most part this thing is looking tip-top as a LEGO build. Now number 8 moving down is the build featured on the thumbnail. I'm super curious to see how weird the comment section gets with this video, but in general it's not actually just about flat Earth. This is, I think, all of the popular conspiracy theories mishmashed together in a really large display set, similar to how like the UCS Death Star was put together. So you have the flat Earth at the top, but then you also get people doctoring dinosaur skeletons, lizard people taking the place of politicians is probably my favorite, but you have the UFO landing in Roswell. The Illuminati is looking really nice, reminds me of Dr. Strangelove a little bit, and of course the moon landing. I think there's a lot more featured in here as well. These are just some of my favorites from the designer Ryan mcnaught. This looks like maybe he had the most fun putting this project together compared to the rest that I'm going to show you in this episode. That's actually funny because we're segueing over to Djokson, who consistently puts out really interesting characters at a super fast rate, so I have a feeling he's probably having a pretty good time knocking out some fun creative builds as well. This is Jackpot Joe, and it's essentially a sentient slot machine with an extremely large revolver gun arm attached, really. The little hat at the top looks wonderful. I love the macaroni pieces used to make those angry eyebrows, and the slight bit of chrome right at the base in those wedge plates I think ties the whole look together to make it feel a little bit more flashy like a slot machine should be. Excellent characters are constantly being knocked out by this guy. I highly recommend you check out the Flickrs and Instagrams. Everything's in the description below. And then number 6 moving down is a build that I saw earlier this month but lost the link, and now I found it again. This is from Aukbricks. It's called Longing. This is a build that looks like it's based on the cherry blossom season in Japan. You have that nice little bridge often seen in Japanese tea gardens, and also you can see a little shrine, pathway, blossoms all over the ground, and the use of those white tree pieces as the base is great to put all of those pink flowers on top of, because really those cherry blossoms are a combination between both white and pink petals. Everything is encased nicely into an actual briefcase, it looks like, maybe a traveling case, and it's just such a wonderful, welcoming looking design. Now this is also from a builder I don't think I've ever featured before. From Red comes the build Pripyat 1986. The theme from the BioCup build contest was technogenic disaster, and the figure you're looking at is a Chernobyl liquidator from the cleanup unit. Certainly a dark looking character with the long black coat, big black boots, and hood that encases what looks like a gas mask, though it's kind of hard to tell. He certainly reminds me of those doctor doctors that walked around from the plague times when they had those long noses, though just a little bit more modern, and that gas tank on the back is so simple, but really just such an interesting and ominous character captured in what looks like not too many Lego bricks. Now, number 4 is a speeder build. I love Lego speeders. The small, concise, compact bit of bricks always really draws me in, and this look is extremely efficient. We have Omega 1 by Jack Lockhart. I feel like the inspiration here is pretty easy to see. It looks very much like a more cleaned and refined version of Ray's speeder from episode 7, but now the speeder is a little brighter, and it also doesn't look like it was jerry-rigged out of a few different engines and sort of a scrap metal build like Ray's was. This looks like it could have actually been taken right off of a lot, or perhaps came from a stock build and then was upgraded after the fact. It's a bit bulky. I love the snub nose, yet when looking at the model, it still feels like it's a speeder that could zip around quite quickly, and it's got a bit of weight to it as well. Now, moving on into the top 3 or final 3 of the episode, we have the Atomic Bug by Kobalt. Hard to tell if this is based directly on any particular IP. I don't believe so. Part of me thinks the sleek U-shaped bit of the cockpit that also works as the rotating head and body of the walker could have just been a spaceship build, or looks like it could easily be modified into something that was a spaceship, but it gives it this fun sort of top-heavy, almost cartoony vibe when you add those 4 legs at the bottom. Personally, I think some of the best detailing, though, rests in the very back with those macaroni pieces making up some of the piping, as well as the half-dome golf piece in the back, which, if it was a spaceship, could easily be replaced with some bit of an engine to look like it's got a thruster in the back that's propelling it through space. The olive green is great as a base color. The red highlights and yellow highlights are relatively minimal, and ultimately this is just a really fun looking grounded sci-fi build. Now let's take a step into the past. From classical bricks, we have Kassar AlShams. I hope I'm saying that right, but it looks like an ancient castle from the desert with wonderful domes that remind me somewhat of mosque architecture, and just an excellent bit of detailing all around. I love the use of the brick pieces along the walls. They're kind of broken up with flat tan, as well as a few little openings and nodes to make it look like some of the stone work has withered away ever so slightly. We've got some subtle curving and arcing detail built into some of the towers, and I can appreciate the very uneven dark tan ground that juxtaposes the look of the sandstone very much against the rest of the ground. It's certainly a very, very complete scene with the characters at the bottom, and if you want to see some more amazing builds that are somewhat along the same line as this, I highly recommend you check out the Flickr. Remember to check out everybody's Flickrs and Instagrams in the description below. And with that, let's move on to the very last build of the week. We have The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild from Vincent Q. Specifically, I really like Link sitting on top of his horse Epona, sorry, don't know how to say the horse's name. I think it's the same name from Ocarina of Time. But anyways, it's just such a fun, happy build. He looks happy, the horse looks happy, the build for the horse looks amazing. I like the use of those helmet pieces right at the front for the hooves, and also those rock or hoof pieces used for the hair on the black mane. Link's got an excellent build. He looks a little funny standing on his own, especially like his shorter legs, but the fact that you can take him off of the horse and pose him independently is a huge, huge plus, and the designer did a great job with all of his weapons, the shield, the sword. It all looks fun, and it is just a wonderful tribute to a wonderful game. If Nintendo ever changes the policy on how they license their stuff out to companies, it would be so cool to see official Lego Zelda sets, but until then, we've got these amazing ones built by these amazing designers. All right, that is it for the top 10 mocks. Everything you see flashing by the screen are things I just didn't have time to talk about in this episode, but I highly recommend you check out all the links in the description below. Remember, top 10 really just means my personal 10 favorite, and at the end of the day, there are just so many creative people knocking out so many amazing designs in Lego bricks that limiting the number to 10 is just an easy way to do it for a YouTube video. But I highly recommend you check out everything linked in the description, because there's a very, very, very good chance that if you've stuck around this long in the video and that you've at least enjoyed some of the stuff I've showed you, there's a good chance some of your favorite builds will be somewhere in the unmarked linked section. And if you enjoy our content, you can always like or subscribe. Thank you so much for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault. Hey everybody, just popping in really quick, wanted to let you know that we have a Lego web store, www.brickvault.toys, where we sell the PDF step-by-step instructions for some very high quality Lego MOCs. It's definitely worth checking out. The revenue from the web store helps support us here at the channel, as well as the incredibly talented designers that work so hard to make these amazing Lego builds. So if you want to check that out, it is www.brickvault.toys. Thanks a lot for watching, everybody, and we'll see you next time at BrickVault.